So, all right. So the okay. So the first update is I want to talk about the so last week there was an on-site with the first community substrate community uh, um, meeting on-site, like the official get together thing. So there were folks there from Red Hat, Microsoft, Solo, and Google, as well as a couple independent people. And we chatted through sort of the current state of substrate in the future. And it's definitely looking really, really exciting. I'm super excited. I know that this agent is not technically right. Like this is the Kagent community meeting. Why are you talking about substrate? So I will get to that. But basically, super exciting. So there are plans in place basically to get the first like official release out by October. In time for we are all subscribers here to CDD, Conference Driven Development. So we're hoping to have the first release, like official release, beta V1, whatever we're calling it, by October. And that's really exciting. We define milestones in terms of what will make it in and what won't. And we all believe that the required set of features, both for stability and security and general platform, day zero operations, and hopefully some day one as well, will be in time. It's really exciting to see the kind of support and it is very interesting talking to a lot of folks about sort of the difference between substrate and other things that are out there and how it feels like it's doing a lot of things right. So it was really interesting. Does anyone have any? Does anyone want a recap of substrate? Does anyone have any specific questions about that?
Just maybe question how often it will be synchronized to. I know we had a fork, right, in the Kagent. Like, what is the frequency between the mainstream and the fork? Do you still need that fork? Are you going to switch to the main line, or is there any kind of a beta version that needs to be frozen for Kagent? Like how
these
this
are
will
great
happen?
questions.
Because for us, if we start to adopt it, right, we need some minimal stability. So far, we've seen that, for example, Redis and other stuff was not super stable, and it will help if you can give us some idea about this.
Yeah, so that is a great question. Basically, the answer is so there will be so okay, we will probably have a fork for the foreseeable future, just because there are going to be things like that we from the Kagent side want to ship. So the long-term goal, right, is that substrate will be kind of a platform, right? Like, and Kagent will have a distribution of it with certain specific items to Kagent. For example, shipping with Agent Gateway by default. That might, we're debating upstream about whether that's going to happen. We're not sure yet, but in Kagent, we'll ship with Agent Gateway as the default egress and ingress everywhere. So there are things like that will always be true on the Kagent side, and so we're working with upstream to see how we can make that less of a fork, quote unquote, and more of a extension. So I think for the time being, there will be a fork for sure.
And these milestones in this fork, do you have any kind of intermediate milestones until GA? Because I think GA will be end of October or something, right? So if we want to target maybe some intermediate milestones to try it, or to give it like some kind of a test, validation and things like that. Do you have any?
Yeah. So I think that we're targeting. That's a great question. The answer is no. We like not right now. I think we're still like things are moving so quickly that we're still, after that last meeting. I mean, I was off Monday, or I was off Thursday, Friday, and I'm just coming back. So there's a lot of stuff for me to catch up on. Just John Jamroga, he's not in the call. He's been doing a lot of the more product-y side of things on our end. So no specific betas. I think we're going to try and follow upstream. I mean, obviously we'll move a little bit faster. And so in terms of stability, I think we're aiming for the same goals that like for the next, until October, whatever, it'll be very much like, front of the road, like things are going to be changing a lot. And then try and introduce stability around that. Again, there's still some like major, there's still big questions that need to be figured out in Substrate, like the Redis stuff, right? Like that's something that like actually in Kagent we might ship with Postgres because we think that Redis is like the durability of Redis is a problem. So like there are questions like that that need to be answered. So yeah.
So does it mean that we would need to have some focus from current maintainers, contributors internally to take some decisions as well, like on this community meetings or maintainers meetings, or you will be taking it completely by yourself? Like I would like to understand. Do you expect this, because this difference, right, between the like Substrate and Kagent Substrate, right? So if you are saying like, okay, we want to manage differently database, right, or storage, we want to have different maybe gateways and other stuff. So this means any kind of proposals on these topics so that we can participate, because it's quite interesting.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I think that like we can definitely make that. I mean, you're right, because it will be a part of the agent. I think from now on, it will be a part of these meetings. You know what I mean? Like, I think, again, everything is moving so fast that like there was no, until now, I think like as like I'll just say like we like at Solo, we I think we were pressure testing the waters and figuring out kind of what Google was thinking about Substrate and what the broader community was thinking about Substrate and all these other things. But I think we've pretty much landed on the fact that it's the thing. And so now that like I think there's a larger desire like of just moving more things there. And so obviously like now that the agent will be taking much more of a it'll just become a larger part of our ecosystem, and we will have a distribution. It will naturally become an important part of Kagent, and also require the communities to be involved, right? Because it is a Kagent distribution, right? It's under Kagent dev, like it's a part of the release binary. It's a part of the system.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. And I think it's a very good direction if we will start to work with Agent Gateway as a officially component, right? Then we can make our decisions instead of doing workarounds or considering Kagent standalone. We can say, okay, always go with Agent Gateway. So we will not introduce those half-baked design, which needs to work in this situation and then needs to work with Agent Gateway. Then you need to additional logic, which is like redirection of the traffic of A to A or other stuff that we introduced, right? So if Agent Gateway will start to be there, I think it makes our life more easier, and we can rely on that decisions. Yeah, it's really good thing. Also, like Substrate in the storage that you mentioned, I think we need some storage for agents themselves, not only for the containers, not only for these things. And if you have a component which is permanent and part of the platform, it makes this decision more easier for us, right? So we can say, okay, let's add artifact storage, which can be like S3 compatible or this Rust-FS or whatever else it's there, right? So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really, I think, allows us. It makes a lot of decisions for us, but it also opens up a lot of interesting conversations. So there are some, there are some API changes that we'll want to that are going to be that we need to think about as a result of this. So I'll just outline them here. So so there's the first one is what is our there's the actual like user or system, I'll call it, to agent API. There's the user, the agent API, and then there's the CRDs. And and then there's also the RPCs. So right now, I'll just talk like current state. These two are both A2A. I'm going to say it right here. I'm not going to say how I know. It doesn't matter. But A2A is dead. And so,
okay.
and I,
in the current version, you mean in the current version or like completely?
Again, just
okay.
Doesn't matter. And it has I don't know if y'all have found this, but A2A has a lot of problems.
I think it's better to say it didn't get enough support from community.
It didn't get enough support from community. Dimitri, you're a much better politician than I am.
I was going to say that's a political response, right?
No, it's what happened. Actually, you can see it on the GitHub issues everywhere. Yeah.
But also, I mean, the reality is that it doesn't match the moment, because we need state is so important now, and so we need an API that's fit for purpose. So that this will transition from A2A to something else. Again, we need to decide what that is. The user to agent API. Right now, this is A2A. Again, the amount of hacks in our code to get the amount of hacks in our code to get things like human in the loop working for A2A are insane. Like, it's just crazy that and especially when there are protocols that exist that solve all those problems. So so that's that. And then for CRDs, actually, give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
I mean, I must admit, when you look at like community noise, it's always MCP, very rarely A2A that anyone's talking about.
Yes, true. But you see, there was the moment when many people started to push for skills and CLIs, saying you don't need MCP, and then there was a bit pushback saying no, MCP stays with improving spec, with improving standards and all this security, and so on and so on. I still see a bit of an issue if you want to, use only CLIs as a replacement of MCP. How you audit them, how you actually
that's it.
Give them permissions and all of that, like tokens and things. Yeah, that's.
So there's that.
So we just invented. You see, Ethan, we just spoke. A2A is dead. Long live MCP.
I know, right? Yeah. So one, in like in the UI for harnesses, in Kagent, we added ACP support, which is basically like MCP++, specifically aimed at user interactions. So, we can debate whether we want to use that or, MCP directly or whatever. So that, again, we need to figure this out. So that's the user to agents API. And maybe
I
the
think
system to agent
ACP specifically simulate the editor on the other side, or it's like it's abstraction
Like
which
cursor,
helps
right?
to integrate with Z or other editors, which is similar when you go from the UI, when you have chat window, when you have sessions, when you have all kind of things, and then you can use ACP for that to kind of have a remote agent supporting all of these abstractions, right?
Exactly.
The one problem which I found with it, just one last thing.
Mm-hmm.
The one problem which I found problematic, that the ACP consider that you start a process on the other side and you keep it running, and then you just send via RPC, with some kind of protocol, sending like new session, new other stuff, but you kind of running this permanently, which is not always the best, because if you have agents, agents could be like stateless, right? You can have something which is just a process something and return, and that's it, which is another dimension. But
yeah, I mean, it depends on the agent, right? Again, you can simulate that stuff with a server. There in a system like Kagent that requires some sort of user-facing API, you need some unified API of interaction, right? We can figure out what that is, and what I think will eventually happen is that Kagent will have like a gateway component. Maybe we can call it the K gateway. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so the K agent will probably have a gateway component, which acts as the sort of front of that.
Which we all requested for some time back, right? As soon all this Hermes and OpenClaw and everyone started, we've seen that this is needed, and then we go to the event based.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Everything.
To be sure, maybe too. Exactly. So that thing will translate all the user to agent APIs, which could be multiple, into the thing that actually communicates with the agents. So, anyway.
By the way, if you've seen in the Discord, I posted the link to the Synadia integration with agents. They actually have these two things, ACP and NATS integration with event-based. So they actually have a gateways and proxy where you can have on one side all the ACP, including like what we just mentioned, different CLIs for coding agent, and then you can use this NATS as a messaging to those, which is very cool. And
that's very cool.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to check that out.
So I have a quick question about the A2A, I guess, replacement. Like, would it have, I guess, complete parity with what we currently are able to do from the outside in with A2A?
Yeah, it would be more, right? Because the sort of biggest thing that A2A has no concept of, that is becoming more and more important, is session checkpoints, basically. And the Substrate allows us to have a system wherein everything can be point in time, and so agents can be called and executed from points in time. So that's like a really big part of it. So I can say, I want to communicate with agent X at point in time Y.
Okay, I see.
So
are there any other, I guess, not competitor, but like, are there any like examples of other I guess solutions that have had their own like proprietary API for this that I guess I'm just trying to get an understanding of like what it would look like to switch to that, but I guess I don't have to worry about it right now.
Yeah, I think I know that there are some companies who are working on it, but we need to this is like at a high level. There's more research that needs to be done here.
Yeah.
So, okay, then moving on to the CRDs, we right now have the sandbox agent, the agent, and that agent harness. And those are all kind of born from a desire to move fast and break things, but they're confusing. So I think we should also take this opportunity to potentially sort of combine them and figure out like a second layer, kind of like a V2 API for Kagent in terms of how, and keeping a lot of the things that have worked, like the MCP servers and the model config and all that stuff, because that stuff has been really nice. But, figuring out how we can adopt the new API or a new like agent level API that can work for all those different use cases rather than having so many different ones. And also, so that's kind of at a high level. So I'm actually doing that research right now.
Does it mean that we will actually enable running like any coding agent, like you mentioned on some other meetings, like Cursor, Claude, GitHub Copilot, and so on, so we can actually run any ACP compatible harness?
Yes, that's the idea. Yeah.
Okay. Would be nice to see how this harness can have also storage, and then solves the big pain.
Yeah. So you'll get that natively through Substrate.
Yeah, exactly. So this is, but for example, in my current custom implementation, we use kind of MCP, which is wrapping such agent, like a coding agent inside MCP, right? And I noticed that, for example, if you run, let's say, Cursor, right? It's basically Node.js based process, right? It actually takes quite a lot of CPU. You run like one pod, which is jumping to 4, 6 CPU cores, 100% sometimes. And I wonder how this will be like handled by Substrate properly, because those Node.js specifically processes and so on, they're really heavy, like if you run, I don't know, Claude, Cursor, and others, they sometimes need enough resources.
Yeah, you should just switch to codec.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good answer. Yeah. That's why I have ADK based coding agent myself.
Exactly. Just rewrite it. That's what models do, right? Didn't you read that Bud blog? Come on.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I mean, the reality is that, first of all, what Substrate will allow you to do is snapshot post startup, so you don't incur startup costs on these agents, which is really nice, right? Because it's like it can be kind of long. And then the next thing is just like, if Substrate doesn't take an opinion on resourcing, right? You give it this pod. And so in terms of like, figuring out how to right size a node thing, like at the end of the day, you can't really make node better, and you're just gonna have to fix, you know what I mean? You're just gonna have to switch to something that uses less resources.
Okay.
The last thing that I want to bring up, this one is definitely less important, but I do think it's worth thinking about. RPCs. Right now, everything is HTTP, and we did that originally because, back when we started, I think there was this idea that like running curl was easier than gRPC, which is still kind of true. But the problem is that we have an absolute, pardon my French, you know what? I'm not going to curse for the recording. We have an absolute insane sprawl of basically untyped HTTP stuff. And I would love to move to gRPC if possible. So
I think it makes a lot of sense, yes, because this is SSE events which we are getting on the website. This is really outgrows already the current protocol. Like we have so many things there in just to handle messages and different things. And if it works, it works. But if it fails, it's very hard to figure out like what happened, you know, with message order or something. So having gRPC there, I think it would be a really good idea.
So we can, you know, move slowly on that, like add new things
and faster, right? It will improve the speed.
Yeah.
Of...
Yes. So yeah, that's kind of like a high level. I know I said a lot of things. I should have a draft of the new API, the CRDs, pretty soon. I have not started on this or this, but yeah, definitely I'll create issues for these, and folks can comment if they have thoughts. I think this is like a really exciting time for Kagent. I think like just at least from my perspective, I think we kind of hand waved about sandboxing for a while because we didn't really have a solution that we liked. But I think that this sort of solved a lot of problems for Kagent simultaneously in a way that's freaking awesome. So I'm really excited about this. I also, this is good news for the Kagent community as a whole, I think, and also for me, I am the first non-Google maintainer of Substrate. So I have a voice at the table for all things Kagent, and I can yell at them to listen to us. So, that's I think going to help us make sure that Kagent's needs are met. And yeah. So.
Yeah, we've noticed that it's at the first meeting with Substrate, that this kind of Substrate mafia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We should get shirts for that. That'd be, oh my God. What if all the Kagent folks showed up to KubeCon with Substrate Mafia shirts? And then everyone's like, wait, what?
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Cool. All right. All right. So let's move on. We're already at 30 minutes in. Classic. All right. Art and Kristen, do you guys want to go over the docs migration?
Hey, yeah, thanks, Eitan. I guess let me see if I can present.
Do you want to share? Do you have like a demo or something, or like a?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
I'll stop sharing.
All right. I'm sharing my screen now. Okay, cool. Well, so since Eitan's going to change all the APIs on us, we thought we may as well change all the doc process stuff as well on everyone. So I wanted to give a little bit of a background of just kind of like how the doc website works now very quickly, and what changes that we're proposing, and then show you what that looks like, and invite everyone to comment if you guys have any questions or concerns. So I think a lot of you guys have already contributed to the website. It's basically like MDX files and TypeScript. It's a very different type of process than a lot of the other open source communities that we're involved in. And so what we're proposing is to move just the docs portion of the website over to a Hugo static site generator process, and specifically using a shared Hextra theme that all of the other projects that Solo is involved in, like Agent Gateway, K-Gateway, Agent Registry, a lot of like the downstream contributor or community projects that maybe consume K-Agent use this theme already. And so it will just make reusing content a lot easier across those sites. Like we can import like kind of Go modules in that so that the content can be reused and updated kind of consistently, and have like the one source of truth for K-Agent content be in the open source repo. This would also mean any sort of enterprise projects that want to adopt K-Agent, they could also do the same thing with it. And so Kristen put together a PR on what that Hugo migration could look like. And I thought that I would just kind of start out showing you what the docs currently look like. So like right now I'm in the K-Agent docs. I'm in just like a typical guide, our installing K-Agent, and a few things that I just kind of wanted to call out to your attention, like based on some feedback that we've gotten from people just, since we started, is that kind of the left-hand nav is just kind of like, it just keeps getting bigger because we keep adding stuff, but it can be kind of hard to figure out where to go. And there's only kind of like one level possible. Like after you get to introduction, it's kind of like there's no kind of sub levels. If you're on a page like in this installing guide, it's kind of like you keep scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. There's not really like easy ways to jump in if it's a very long topic. And then it's not, even though we're an AI project, it's not super, let's say, consumable by agents. And so the new theme includes a lot of features that will help address some of these. So I'm going to turn it over. I don't know, Kristen, if you want to talk about some of these changes. This is a local preview that I have built of the PR.
Yeah, so first what we had to do was convert all of the MDX files over to the Markdown. So we have a script in there right now that will run on a manual basis so that we can continue to get updates from those MDX files until we're ready to push out this big Hugo change. But once we do that, the new features in here, I mean, Art talked about on the left-hand nav, we're going to have an easier ability to create sub-levels within there. I didn't change the content to show that, but that is a capability that will be in there. On the right-hand side, you can see that the H2s and 3s and 4s will show to make navigation a little bit easier if you want to jump to a section of these really long topics. At the top of the page, one of the other cool features is we implemented a copy as markdown button. And this is something that you can either open in an AI, web AI tool, or just AI can use this to help navigate the page and understand what's in it, stuff like that. And then, so also by default, by implementing this, we get LLMs.txt files within each level of the navigation there. So another way for AI to be able to parse this page a little more easily.
So does it mean that we can point the MCP directly to the site LLMs.txt and that will work?
Yeah, so Art, you can speak to this if I'm wrong, but I think there is like a docs MCP. In fact, I think in the drop down, don't we have a link to how to set that up? Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have your own MCP, you could point it to the LLMs.txt. We do, like, it's solo branded, but we do host an MCP server that is pulling from the upstream repos as well. And this would also have the other upstream projects that you potentially might be using it with, such as Agent Gateway and K-Gateway. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So one other thing, it changes the navigation at the top slightly. You can see the options, clickable options at the top are all a little bit more condensed than they were before. So the one change I did make on the marketing side was to match this kind of look and feel over there. But otherwise, the marketing pages haven't changed.
And then to address Chris's question in the chat, this theme does have a version capability. So right now we don't maintain separate versions of Kagent. We just have, you know, whatever the latest is what's there. But we could, in theory, do this.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was literally just looking at like that Agent Gateway one. That was like because you said it. I was like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. But yeah, no, it makes sense.
You mean it will go like archive with versions, or?
It could. I mean, we could call it archive. I'll just pull up the Agent Gateway doc. So this is what the dropdown is. Like, we could have whatever versions we want. We could call them whatever we want, and then we could also, the URLs change based on what we call them, based on the folder name in the actual repo. Yeah, so depending on what our versions, I don't think right now we have a stated, like, you know, N-1 support or anything, but if we ever did want versions, we could do this. We also would have the ability to do translations if, you know, people ever wanted docs translated into a certain language. We don't do this in any of the other upstream projects yet, but we do have it in the enterprise version of Agent Gateway, for example. So I could show this really quickly. We have it in Japanese of all languages. So that's what it would look like. So this thing it kind of sets us up to be able to do more things in the future. Another aspect that it could do, going to the Agent Gateway docs, we have like an Ask AI button integrated into the doc site. We could, you know, in theory, do something similar for Kagent it would already have this built into the theme capability. Any other questions about like the look and feel or the theme before I quickly wrap up? Okay, cool. Well, thanks, Kristen, for walking us through some of those main features. I just wanted to share the PR in case anyone wants to check it out. And don't be intimidated by how many files are changed. A lot of this is like what Kristen mentioned, how we had to convert the MDX files into MD files so that they could be consumed by Hugo and just kind of reorganize folder directories. But if you want to try it out locally, there are some steps in here where you can run like a make command to get all the dependencies. It uses Hugo, I think 0160, or 0160. And then you can do like a make preview to check it out locally and see how it works. If anyone has any, that's pretty much all that I had for today. But if anyone has any initial thoughts or concerns about making this kind of migration, let us know. Otherwise, yeah, we'll just kind of keep pushing it forward. I see Massoud has his hand up.
Yeah, just quick question. You have showed your local host and then copy as markdown. And there are other options open in Perplexity, open in ChatGPT, etc. These are working or is it just in progress?
So what? No, yeah, no, it works. So what those do, well, I guess I could just share it if you're interested, but it just opens the web browser versions of ChatGPT or something to that page. And so if we do like open in Claude, it's going to open the Claude UI. And of course, I'm not logged into it right now, but it basically just precedes it with the page as a markdown file for the context, for the conversation. Yeah.
By the way, this is the feature we miss in the Kagent.
Yeah.
Deep
Yeah.
links. Deep links.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pre-filled.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thanks everyone.
All right, Nitro. See this demo.
Oh, yeah. Let me see.
I mean, oh, you added the thing.
Yes. It was too quick. Yeah. Let me see if it will work. And
It looks like our website in Project Hami. We have done same thing for the website. I mean, on the left side and on the right side, we have different lines on Project Hami if you want to check it. And it's almost same. And above we have versions. We can select the versions, releases, etc. Almost same.
okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So recently we merged some support of MCP UI widgets, and I just wanted to show it, and hopefully, yeah, okay. Session was quite big. I have just a pre-run session which is using this thing, and it's a basically agent which you ask to adopt certain changes in your application, and you give it like a list of multiple repositories. So as you can see, one of the challenges was that we have multiple tool calls during that. For example, here is like 14 tool calls, and Peter was very quick to implement this optimization. So we have now tool calls which are going like one after another. They are grouped. So then you have, for example, a delegate call to sub-agent. It's basically breaking this grouping, and then you have it again. And another thing, here you can see the MCP call to the MCP UI widget, and it's basically embedding here in iframe entire widget with the multiple things. Since I use the Kanban board as a MCP UI extension or plugin, it has also this widget supported as a tool. So you can see here show task progress tool, and when agent calls it, it would show it inside your chat as a one single iframe with some context. So in my case, I have one feature which has like those 11 sub tasks, actually tasks, and that each task has some additional subtask as a checklist. And you can see it's embedded inside the chat. It has some kind of refresh, or it's automatically pulling data by automatic refresh every 15 seconds. And it's just a normal part of the chat itself. Another thing which is a common pattern for this case, we have this coordinator agent, and then I'm starting like 11 sub-agents. So this was not working properly until recently because the session was actually shared. The session context ID was kind of the same for all. And then we have, there is a PR actually, which is still open, and the defect for isolate session true. On my side, it's already implemented. So whenever we call these sub-agents, it's actually starting isolated session with a separate context. And you see that the coordinator has one single widget here, then each worker working on the task, and you can see the Kanban is updated, tasks are moved whenever they succeed and they progressing. And you can still stay in the first chat without jumping and following all of these subsequent calls. If you come back, you can just check the chat from the main agent, or you can look on the Kanban and see what's going on there. So that was solving the problem of the fan out and how the multiple sessions can be started from the main window, and then you can wait until all of them are completed, and you reach some kind of final state where some of them completed successfully, some of them need attention or failed for whatever reason. So I can click on the link and open the like this deep link to the MCP UI actual MCP, and then see the status of the task and so on. Sorry, I think I have here a bit slow connection with VPN, but yeah, you can see. You can click and go inside the task and see what's going on. Just a minor thing which we've done on our side for the SSO. As you see here, I am logged in as SSO with my enterprise account. I've added the preferences, and I'll just show you how it looks like. It's still a question if we want to do it this way, or we want to basically do it with agent gateway, all the big picture. But this is just a example that I can have a user preferences with, for example, Bitbucket, GitHub tokens if I configure it. And then we can use the personalized user token, which will be used for communication in the chat. So it's not like a secret. And if you remember, in the current Kagent, we have headers from in MCP configuration. So this is the same headers from, but it's using headers from user profile, and then it's taking it from the current logged in user profile. Okay, that's just what I wanted to show you. I think that's it. Any comments, questions on? Guys?
No questions.
There's one in the chat about whether this is the enterprise.
Sorry?
No. So this is not enterprise. This is Dimitri has done some he's doing work on top of the Kagent open source UI.
We have
Yeah, a lot of this work
PRs for
is-
this part. We have a PRs open. It's still like coming. I'm just giving you the bit of glimpse of what it can be. And I think it's actually a good direction for overall, because we see that there are a lot of internal competition, a lot other tools which are trying to compete with Kagent during the adoption. And I think having a bit better enterprise-looking UI, it's become essential. You know, like especially when some other tool come and they say, okay, look, we just look better on the home screen. So yeah. And again, the Kanban is a plugin. It's using this mechanism of plugins of MCP UI. There is a PR for that, but it's still in process. So it's
All right, awesome. Well, we're at time. I'm gonna hop off, but I think this has been awesome, and I will see you all soon. All right.
See you
Bye.
later.
Thanks,
Take care.
everyone. Have a great day.